All right, guys, welcome today. Something a little bit different. We're going to dive right into a business who's right in the middle of the COVID-19 right now. What I'm going to do is, rather than rolling the carpet out and giving an intro from myself, I'm going to throw it out to you guys. And let's give it to Vivienne here. She's better looking out of you two. So let's throw it out there, guys. Introduce yourselves just briefly, and just tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Hi, I'm Vivienne Manzano. I'm from Balloon Expressions. We're located at 347 Kira Street, Wollongong. We've been here for around about 8 years, but you probably know us as the balloon shop that's opposite Darlando Pizza. That's been there for 4 years. So we are a small business, family owned and operated. This is my husband, Javier. And we're balloon decorators. We supply balloons from any occasion, small family function at home to large, extreme, extravagant corporate functions as well, and everything in between. So all your car yards that you see that have balloons tied to each car that they're selling, they're our balloons. We supply gas and helium balloons to car yards. We, all your franchise businesses like Domains and Harvey Normans and people like that, they all have balloons in their shops. They're predominantly balloons supplied by us as well. But we also do your first birthdays, your christenings, your weddings, your hens, baby showers, whatever the occasion, we're there, from birth till death, pretty much.
And that's pretty much how we sort of come across each other, isn't it? Through my wife and her cakes and her functions. That's
right. Yeah, I've got a lot of collaborations with other businesses in Wollongong. Your wife, Vicky, the Naked Cake, one of them, where our businesses complement each other. Yeah, beautiful. Harvey, what about yourself, mate?
I get her coffee. That's my main role. So, I'm the director.
So good at it.
I love it.
I'm the director of First Impressions.
That's magic. Guys, so business 8 years with balloons?
Business for
14 years.
14 years, 8 years in Kira Street. Before that, we started pretty much from our home.
Yeah.
And we just built up that way. We went into a shop front 8 years ago, and yeah, sky's the limit ever since.
Okay, so before you started your own venture, what were you doing beforehand? Working for someone? What industry were you in?
We were both in telecommunications, so we were both project managers at Telstra, both located in Sydney, and travelling to Sydney every day into Pitt Street, where Harvey also used to get my coffee.
Has the coffee changed since day one to now?
It's a little bit hotter now. And in Sydney, it's a little bit warmer. But no, we've always, for 14 years, look, we've known each other for about 20 years.
Yep.
And we've always worked together. We've been working together at Telstra. I think we've been working on the same floor.
That's how we met. We've actually met over the phone. So Harvey worked in the call centre here in Wollongong to start with when he started at Telstra, and I was in Parramatta, Telstra.
Yep.
And we used to have to call technicians to get telephone lines tested, and Harvey was the voice at the end of the phone.
The charmer, Charmer.
Right. Yeah, good. So so the business you're in, so the balloons, was that your first business? So you jumped straight out of Telstra to the balloons?
With Telstra, we were constantly at that period. We were offered redundancies. There was always, we had to reapply for our jobs, and that was on a twice a year, every three months or so.
Yeah.
We had to reapply for our jobs.
Okay.
So we had to set up a plan B. So on my 30th birthday, which is only about 3-4 years ago, on my 30th birthday, Viv had organised a surprise birthday party for me. And the experience taken away from that, she kind of had a chat to me and said, after the party, of course, that Wollongong really needed a balloon shop. Viv came from a balloon background, working for one of the biggest in Sydney when she first left school.
Yep.
And that was the brainchild. So it was pretty much plan B. So we worked at Telstra, had the side hustle of working the balloon shop. And our biggest customer at the time, our very first customer I think we achieved was doing most of Darling Harbour and Cockle Bay.
Yep.
So we would drive up to Cockle Bay, Darling Harbour, and do their functions, and whatever money we made, we'd just eat and drink and stay the weekend there.
So what appealed to you both in, I mean, obviously you had a bit of a touch of the industry back when you, well, sort of when you were exposed to it, but what drove you to take this path and balloons? Did you see an opportunity in respect of, a market that wasn't tapped into as yet, or what drove you to tap into the balloon industry?
I just felt that when I was looking for what I needed party-wise for when it was Harvey's 30th, there was just a bit of a hole in the market. And I found that other shops that I found down here, they were quite expensive. And Harvey and I come from a service background, so we're very service orientated. And if you have a look at our Facebook reviews and that, it all generally revolves around price and service, and how we're usually 5-star in that area.
Yep.
And I think that's what I was missing at the time. I was missing someone to offer me the service and also at the right price point as well.
Mm-hmm. Did you find that?
Our prices have pretty much remained the same. Like, so we started off, at a price point where we thought was reasonable for our customers. And to be honest, in 15 years, our prices haven't changed. Mm-hmm. Dramatically at all. We've absorbed a lot of cost when helium goes up and down, when the cost of balloons go up and down. We've absorbed a lot of that because we feel like we don't really need to pass that on to our customers, so that they can still enjoy the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Over the period of time, so we're talking 14 years ago? Did you say you started in the balloon game? How's the industry and how has the market, I suppose, even the demand changed across the 14-year period?
The market's changed considerably. Balloons are so in the 80s and 90s, balloons were fashionable at weddings and things like that. So it was very much like my big fat Greek wedding style, where it was like, big arches, big heart arches, blue and white and things like that. So and exploding balloons off ceilings and things like that. So that was fashionable then. It sort of died off a little bit throughout the early 2000s, and now balloons have come back again very, very fashionable. So now it's a lot of all this arty-farty, organic type style balloon arches and decorations, and it just seems the bigger the better. And christenings seem to have taken over the wedding scene, and it's just we're just thriving at the moment because balloons are just fashionable, and because of things like Instagram and Facebook, it's a lot more accessible for people to see and know what they want.
Yeah, you're lucky you're in a line of work, especially with social media. A lot of your presentations revolve pictures and visual, so you can really utilize those platforms to enhance, I suppose, what you do and showcase yourself too, correct?
Yeah. Do we do it well?
but you know what, at the end of the day, no one's going to be perfect at everything, right? And I think you'd rather be on a platform and doing it half-assed, or doing it to an extent where people can still see what you're doing and keeping things real, than not being on it at all because you're thinking that you're not perfect and you're worrying about what the other person's looking at.
Yeah, as long as you're starting, look, there's no going backwards. You can always improve. Yep. And it's like anything you do in business or in life. It's just, as long as you dip the little toe in, and eventually you just start swimming. That's
right. You seem like pretty up and at it, go-getting type of people. And obviously, I think if you took the plunge, well, you do, Viv, anyway.
Yeah. All the caffeine you've been drinking, that's why.
Do you think? I mean, it takes some balls going back to when you sort of start your own business from scratch. Do you think the personality of a business owner, there's some certain traits that you need to take the plunge and even just be in the business? Obviously you've got to be a bit more resilient, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to be very resilient, and you've got to be prepared to eat shit for a while, and you've got to be just, what's the word I'm looking for? Our thing is we never say no.
Yeah.
So, no matter how big or small, or definitely doesn't matter how small an order is, our thing is we never say no, because you don't know where that sale could potentially lead to.
Correct. Yeah. I totally agree.
Giving away all the secrets now.
No, and look, these are little things that a lot of people don't realise. I think, look, we've all learned the hard way at certain points of our business life, and I think you can really get fixated, especially when you're starting off, where you're relying on every single dollar that comes in. I mean, not that you don't rely on it later on, but you're really depending on that dollar just to cover costs initially. And I think you can really get fixated on especially initially focusing on making sure you get paid for everything that you do. But like you said, there's a lot of, especially more so now, it's more really about giving value without charging for it in external sources that we can use in the social media and all the other avenues you can provide. Because in turn, when someone needs a balloon, they're going to know that to come to you because you've given them a lot of value out of your shop. How important do you believe it is to, like you've already stated, how important it is to take any job on, but even just giving people, I mean, and this comes down to how you service and how you operate your business. How important is it to over-service?
Well, to give you an example, like there was a few years ago, Disney on Ice, they come around nationally. There was one year about 5-6 years ago where they came to Wollongong and they didn't have any helium supply, for example. So, we've done quite a few functions at the entertainment centre in Wollongong, and they've asked us to do them a solid and give them some helium so they could sell their balloons.
Yep.
Long story short, we've been supplying Disney nationally for the last 5 or 6 years, which is a fairly big contract for us, but it's little things like that we do bend over backwards. It's probably not a big paying job at the time, but it's certainly, look, that's just an example that paid off in the long run.
Yeah, and this is your personality shining. So this is not so much even about a business, business ethics or the way of operating. This is personality. So this is your personality shining, and you being able to utilize your personality through your business. And that's essentially, when you have your own business, that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about putting your own spin on it. That's a big reason why a lot of people go into their own business, start their own, is because they want to put their spin on it.
I think it all comes down to their purpose. Look, our purpose, and what drives us, and we just treat people the way we expect to be treated. When we walk into a shop, you want to be greeted. You want to have a nice experience. You want to walk away, having a nice experience. And that's what brings people back and gives them that personal touch, that point of difference.
And we've been accused many a time that we treat everybody that walks into our shop like they're our neighbour. I think we have an ability of making people feel that their function is the only function that we have on at that time. They're not aware that we've got another 40, 50 lined up behind them. But for that moment in time that they're in here, it's about them, and that's something that I think we really do well.
Yeah, a lot of business to customer experience comes down to how you make your customer feel when they're dealing with you. And if they've got a positive experience and a positive vibe and feel about how your dealings are, you'll find that'll essentially sell the product you're trying to sell to.
Definitely.
And it's balloons. It's
and
fun.
then listen, I'm amazed. I'm so amazed that I remember every single birthday party I went at as a kid, a balloon has always been at literally nearly every single party that I've been to. I can't believe that, honestly. Do you know who invented the balloon?
Actually, I should know that, but
I don't. But
Robert L. Balloonin.
I don't know. It's just, isn't it just? For me, I find it fascinating how something so simple has really just maintained its longevity, and people are running businesses based on a balloon. It's amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, and
that's right. And we say that all the time. Like, people say, "What do you do for a living?" We're like, "We sell bags of air," but we do, but they're fun and they're good and they make people smile.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is balloons.
It is balloons.
Yeah, correct. Now you mentioned fun. You guys seem to have. I mean, this looking at out from the outside in. You guys seem to have a lot of fun at work. And is that something that comes through because of your personalities? Have you made a conscious decision when you start a business that you're basically going to enjoy what you're doing?
There were no conscious decisions made.
What's your well? Honesty is good. What's your outlook on having fun at work? And work has to be fun. You have to enjoy what you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're in business. We're each other's best friend. Look, me, ever since I was a kid, the only way that my teacher sort of described me was a class clown. And
I got it. I was too. I was in a different school, and I was that person.
So we're very similar personalities. Yeah. Some people may call me a smartass. Who knows? I don't know. No, look, we just don't look wherever we go. We try and make the most out of the situation. I understand with what's going on at the moment. We were actually complimented last week by a customer, and they were thanking us for adding a bit of normality to what's going on at the moment. And we do post things on TikTok and all that kind of stuff, because look, at the moment it's for some people it's horrible. Like it genuinely is horrible. Yeah. And if we can sort of take them out of that mindset for even if it's 5 minutes, that's subconsciously what we are achieving. We want them to just forget about what's going on, think about themselves and give themselves the best function, the best experience possible.
Mm-hmm. How is it? How do you find, you've obviously worked together for a long time. What's something that you can, or an aspect of working together, husband and wife or family members piece of advice you can pass on to someone else who might be in your situation or starting or looking at getting a business with their partner or family members?
You've got to be friends. You've got to be.
No, the coffee order.
I'm going to get coffee now.
Just know your place. So, you've got to be friends to start with. Harvey and I are really good friends, and how Harvey and I are at work is how we are at home. So we're no different. How we are together is how we are with the kids. So it's nothing is different. If I'm doing TikToks here, TikToks are getting done at home.
Yeah.
It's just you've just got to be friends. You got to get along. You got to be able to communicate.
Yep.
And he's got to be able to listen and do what you say, Michael. Like he's got to just get it done.
No, but look, it's not always right. Look, we do have our moments, and it's like
but that's normal. That's normal.
That's it. We've thrown stuff across the warehouse. We've had our screaming matches and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's important that we've had staff here with us in the past, and it's important that they're part of the family as well. We make them feel part of the family, and it's, and we extend that balloon family as well to our customers. Like a lot of our venues and things that we work with on a weekly basis, a lot of those guys closed down in the last month, and like that affected us. We were like gutted for them.
Yeah.
Because that was like part of our family that we're going through something at the moment, this whole COVID thing, we felt the loss for them as well.
Yeah. Now, because when you have your own business, family run business, it takes up a lot of time. It can be very stressful, especially, when, if clients aren't coming through the door or whatever situation, even the situation we're facing now. How have you guys juggled the business and, you talk about kids. How have you juggled the family life with running a business? You guys 7 days, 7 days a week? 7 days a week. So how do you juggle it? How do you make it work with the kids?
Well, the kids are little versions of us. So we're kind of, we're very blessed.
So we have a 12-year-old and an 18-month-old. If people didn't know, 2 girls, Natalia and Hannah.
Yeah.
Hannah's 18 months old. So Natalia, being 12, she was born into this pretty much at the same time as well. So, but Natalia has grown up with the business, so it's all she's ever known.
Yeah.
Poor little nut though, she's been thrown in at the deep end because she was born in the midst of an absolute mayhem. So we were doing these massive functions at the time 18 months ago, and I pretty much had the C-section on a Tuesday and I was back at work doing a christening on the Saturday. It's just how it is.
You've got to make it work, don't you? Yeah. I remember there's been a few times, and I don't get sick very often, but I really got hit one year with a really bad flu, and I was literally like, it was during tax time. So I had, 10, 12 appointments that day booked. And I don't know how I just had to suffer. I suffered like I was literally having 5-minute nano naps between appointments. But I had no other alternative. You had to make it work, don't you?
That's right. And if you love what you do, you can just keep going. You just keep going. You do run on adrenaline, but you just
And it's other people. People rely on you. That's the biggest thing, isn't it? You don't want to let people down.
That's right, and that's probably one of our biggest downfalls, I guess, that we do put a lot of our that like work does come first, and it does sometimes take priority over our family life, and we've sacrificed trips away. We've lost thousands in holidays that we've booked, but then all of a sudden these massive functions come in, and because we don't have the ability to say no, we do the work. We don't go away.
Yeah. Now, with the situation of COVID-19 happening at the moment, how has it affected, and if it has it affected your business at the moment?
The first week, I guess, like everyone, it was a massive culture shock. It hit us for six. People were cancelling their functions. Everyone was indecisive. Where were some venues that were just closing down altogether. Others were adhering to guidelines. It was all very foreign to not only us, but to everyone. But we just sort of had to sink or swim, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It was just adhere to the guidelines.
So during that first week, we had a lot of functions already booked in that had venues that closed. So we were pretty much there to serve those customers, to help them find a venue that could take on their function. It was a double-edged sword. Like, if they cancelled their function, then we would be refunding, a big chunk of money.
Mm-hmm.
If we could help those people find a venue, then, it was a win-win for the venue, and also for us as well, and also for the customer. Then when everyone closed altogether, I think that was the point in time around about the 20-something of March. I think we thought, shit, like this is
real.
This is real. This is not good. There's no way anyone is going to buy a single balloon. We are a nice to have. At the end of the day, what we do in business is a nice to have. We're like a cake. We're like, a stylist or anything like that. We're not a necessity. We thought, shit, this is it. So we're in a lease agreement here in the shop. So we rang the landlord. We've said, what can you do to help us with rent? Blah, blah, blah. They pretty much said, no, we can't do anything. It is what it is. Go and get whatever support you can and get back to us in writing, and then we'll think about maybe doing a rent reduction.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the ANZ Bank, who's our banking people. And because around about that time, they were talking about, maybe getting a secured loan by the government.
Government secured
so
loans.
We were like, let's see what we can get just in case, have it there as a nest egg in case. Because we thought, we've probably got a couple of months in us, and then might have to go get a job. Bank pretty much laughed at us.
And look, you're not the only one. I mean, I've dealt with, all my small businesses now. Some of them have copped a big hit. The guys in the hospitality game, the guys, the fitness and gym operators. There's a lot of industries that are getting smashed because, they're relying on being open. And a lot of the small business people, believe what the government says or not, they don't qualify for a lot of the stuff.
No.
So
a lot of it is funny money too.
You do get a lot of tax benefits, but at the end of the day, you need to pay your wages, you need to pay your rent, you need liquid.
Well, you've still got bills to pay, haven't you?
100%, yeah. So we've just taken that on board, and like I said earlier, look, it's either sink or swim. So we just put some strategies in place to get us by. Gave us an opportunity to look at our bottom line, look at our numbers, what we need to do to keep us alive, and put some strategies in place to meet these bare minimum targets that we had.
And we had a look at the stock that we had sitting around us, and we were like, okay, what can we do with this? Because we're not going to go and order a whole heap of stock like we usually do. Like we on a weekly basis, like we have a lot of outgoing stock and helium wise. So we were like, right, let's cull that. Let's see what we've got. What can we sell that we have in the shop?
Yep. And it's amazing. Like it's great that you've got that outlook and you've had that nature to recognise or to think of outside the square of the normal operations of what you do. Do you think this makes going through something like this, and I mean, obviously being lucky and grateful that you can do what you do and still pay the bills and still make a little bit of money as you go. Do you think, we can really take for granted when business is good?
Oh, definitely. 100%. Yeah, look, I find now moving forward, and I'm quite optimistic that things will, we're all going to be better from learning this, any negative impact. It's given us an opportunity to revisit and start the business again. And essentially that's what we're doing. We're just reinventing the business again from the bottom line and moving it forward. We've got a 12-year plan.
Pushed us to where we should have been anyway.
Yeah. And in all fairness, it's reignited that flame again, because towards the end of last year, we were overworked. We were really busy, which again, we're very grateful for. And it's amazing, this little beast that we've created. But it kind of took a lot of our personal time and effort, and that flame, that desire to be in business kind of fizzled away. But reinventing the business again, it's reignited that flame, and we're really sort of enjoying the opportunity now and looking at the business from a different perspective now.
Yeah, and you've got a new motivation. You've sort of got the fire, as you say, the fire's back in the belly, isn't it? It feels like you're starting again, doesn't it?
Yeah. I feel like you're starting again, and like we're very, very lucky. We're fortunate to be where we are at the moment, and that we can stay open, and we've put in all the things that we need to put in place. We've implemented click and collect so that customers can order over the phone or online. They ring us when they're in the car park, and we take the balloons out and we put them in their car. They don't have to get out of their car. There's no contact, and off they go. And we're doing, the delivery service. So to people that can't be with loved ones for their birthdays, we're doing lots of deliveries around that. Yep. And that's the kind of thing that we are pushing a lot on social media and online, and it's really pushed us to get our online space better as well. And we've got that.
And all this stuff you're speaking about, it's actually going to enhance your business going forward. It's probably areas of your business that you probably didn't want to, or didn't know how to, or didn't realise that you could tap into.
It was just too hard. Like we really wanted to get to this online space.
Yep.
We were like,
it's too hard. But it also, we took a lot of our customers for granted too. Like, I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but at the initial stages, we had, we've developed a relationship with customers where they're almost family now, and that's why we call the Balloon Expressions family. Where we had customers regularly checking up on us, and they were even throwing us a bone, ordering a balloon just to cheer someone up. They were just, it was fantastic. Like the people that were just supporting us. And they didn't have to order any balloons or a bouquet or anything like that. They were just literally just throwing us a bone to help us out, which was, it's really.
I find the whole support around this local, especially in Wollongong, and Wollongong's really a small place. I think the support for all small business, universally across the industry has been amazing. But I think what's more important and what point should be taken is that if people can support business now, it should be the same support across the board at all times, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like I say,
as a business owner, I love the fact that cafes and restaurants are writing little messages on bags, and people, like even people are now seeing those shit jobs as being an essential job. Like no one wanted to be a delivery driver, no one wanted to be a checkout operator, and these jobs now are sought after. So I think it's really reset people's mindsets. And I look, everyone that's in work at the moment is just, they're doing, considering what's going on, it's a fantastic.
Yeah. Viv, you touched on before about collaborating with other businesses. I mean, this is probably, as we've said before, this has brought businesses more together. I suppose more so the ones that are actually still able to operate. how important, I honestly love collaborating with other businesses, and it's something that I'm only just sort of started to tap into. How important is it? I mean, a lot of businesses should be working together more often, shouldn't they?
Yep, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's something I've always done before all of this as well. Like, there's lots of businesses that, you know, I might look a little bit exclusive to or something like that, but it's just, you know, you find someone, you work well with them, and you bounce ideas off each other. And it's important for small business because you don't have that support. Sometimes you can feel very alone as well. So as a female in a small business in Wollongong, if it all goes to shit, then you just feel like on your own. But I've got collaborations out there with, you know, other women in similar industries to my own, and you know, we bounce ideas off each other, and there's things that I'm good at and there's things that they're good at, and those sorts of things, you know, you can bounce ideas off each other.
Yep.
Whether it's an issue with an employee, or whether it's an issue with your social media, or if it's an issue with, you know, a certain insurance that you need to get and you don't know about. Like, you can work with these other businesses to have that support, because there is no support, there is no union, there is, you know, there's business.gov.au, but who's got time to read that?
Yeah. And it's not, I mean, even you know, people within your own industry to bounce stuff off. I mean, I know that I find, you know, I've got one or two other friends who have accounting practices, and we're regularly talking to each other. You know, I'm a firm believer that there's plenty of clients out there for everybody. You know, when you really break it down, the amount of the population that we've got, even in our town, there's plenty of clients to cater for everybody, isn't there?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely.
100%.
You know,
What do you need to learn?
Yeah.
You might not know it yet.
Yeah, that's right. Social media. So it's obviously gone gangbusters, you know, over the last, well, let's say 5 years, gangbusters. I mean, we spoke before about not being perfect on social media. How important do you believe it is in running a business now?
It's definitely,
It's essential.
Yeah. It's an essential tool. You've got to be savvy in it. You've got to speak the lingo. You've got to have the right photos. And you know, a lot of people say content. Like, you just got to post. You got to know the right times to post, how many times to post, all those things. We're not great at it. I'm never like, but we're not.
You don't have to be. You don't have to be.
No. As long as you've got something, a presence, because it's accessible.
Yeah.
And you know, not everyone is going through the traditional media outlets anymore. So everyone is aware of what is available on social media. So that's the best place. I mean,
yeah. I mean, look, it varies. It varies. Yeah. It varies on depending. You know, if you're in the products, if you're selling products or you're providing a service, it's going to vary. I mean, you can use social. If you're selling a product in your game, you're using more as a shop front. You know, like a virtual shop front, really, aren't you? You know, you're presenting everything that you're doing. You know, you can. I mean, whether you enhance photos or not, but you can really make things look really good, can't you? For when you're showing a visual. You know, when you're doing a service.
Pick your audience.
Say it again.
You can also pick your audience. So, say for example, if you're at home on a Saturday night and you're, I don't know, just looking at certain Real Madrid scores, for example, and all of a sudden the next day you'll be bombarded with merchandise, or it might be a particular bike brand that you might be into and you're just researching. The next day in your feed, you're just being targeted by the latest bikes, the latest equipment, the latest whatever it may be, and you know, roofing products as well. Yeah.
Well, we've just found out a couple of things that Harvey likes to do and what he's interested in.
His feed is very different to mine.
Viv, what's your feed entail?
TikTok.
That's awesome.
All about her.
Oh, that's great. That's great, guys. Just wrapping up. Speaking about business, what for anyone that's going into business tomorrow, what are some of the key things they should really take with them in this journey through business?
Well, get your processes right from the very start.
Yeah.
Make sure if you're selling something, then get your processes in place, get everything lined up. You know, you can work on the fly. Harvey and I have worked on the fly for a long time, but 14 years down the track, we're now finding, just during this COVID time, that there are things that we missed at the very, very start.
Mm-hmm.
So, and your website and your online space is more important now than it was back then. But that kind of space can be a bottomless pit of cash too. So just make sure you've got enough money to invest in that kind of thing, because it is important. You can do all the TV and radio advertising in the world, but your online space and your social media is where it's definitely heading, and where you've got to be. That's where you've got to invest your money.
Yeah. You really got to lay the foundations and really do a good hit of planning when you're starting off. And even on a regular, even on an annual basis, I do a lot of my planning here on an annual basis. So over the Christmas, New Year's time, I pretty much just brainstorm and break my business down every single year. It's just being proactive with your planning. It's important, really, isn't it, to know where you want to go, essentially.
Yeah. Have your inlined, your star, your northern star.
Yep.
But it's also doing what you love. Like, I know it's very cliche, and whatever business book you read or whatever, it's all about purpose. It's all about your why.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true. Like, you've got to really love what you do. It's quintessential. Like, you really need to believe, and you're not going to get rich. You're not going to get the awesome lifestyle. You may do. I'm yet to see. My golf handicap has suffered significantly. No, but it's doing what you love, and that's one thing we're proud of. Is the fact that we're doing what we love. We're doing it together,
and we built it from scratch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guys, where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
Retired.
Married.
Getting delivered coffee hub.
I have my own little minion. Natalia would be 19 by that stage.
Yeah. No, seriously, what's on the horizon? What's next? What's coming?
Oh, I don't know. This whole COVID thing is just it's put a massive spanner. Like, we put the we actually put the business up for sale just at the start of.
Towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because we, like Harvey touched on before, we got to that point where it was like, now what? And, we'd also started another business on the side, which was the shirt printers.
Yep.
And we really enjoyed doing t-shirt printing and putting logos on things and stuff like that. And it does go hand in hand with the balloons, because we customize a lot of balloons and things like that. So we started that. We tend to like the shirts.
Yep.
And we were falling more into that space. But now we have a business that can stay open during a worldwide pandemic. So
it's pretty special, isn't it? It's
this is not bad.
So in 5 years' time, look, I'd like to have. I can see us taking at least a day off, a week.
Mm-hmm.
But look, it's just maintaining that service, maintaining a fairly decent reputation, what I think we have. I'd love to service out of the area. We're constantly being asked to deliver in the Southern Highlands, Canberra, Nowra, and also South Sydney.
Yep.
We have so many customers asking us to deliver to Sydney, and we just don't have facilities.
Yep.
So it's just something in 5 to 10 years I would like to look at, but we need to get what we're doing here right first.
Yeah.
We need 100% with our base here. But look, for the time being, look, it's never been about money. It's never been about. It's just enjoying what we are doing. It's been an awesome journey, and it's just going to get.
Well, it sounds like you're only getting started again, guys.
It is.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well, guys, keep up the great work. You're doing a fantastic job here in Wollongong servicing, putting smiles on people's faces. It's really.
You're doing a great job too.
Well, look, we're all essentially trying our best, and like you, I got stale with my business a few years ago as well, and this interviewing process was something that I thought about last summer to do, but probably didn't have the balls to take the plunge and actually sit in front of a camera and do it. But no, it's something that I actually really enjoy doing it. Like you said, if you love what you do, I mean, it doesn't bring any dollars to my bank account, but I really love sitting down with real people and talking real stuff, guys. So I do really appreciate your time. I'm sure we're going to see each other around when this COVID-19 finishes, and I'm sure Viv, yourself, Vicky, and the Lord Mayor of Lake Heights will organise a get-together. And
He was one of our first customers. One of our last.
yeah. So guys, thanks for your time. Yeah, appreciate it once again, and we'll see you all soon. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right, good on you. Talk soon.
Bye.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.